Okay, welcome in, one and all. I'm now going to be reviewing all of Tuesday's action of the NHL. I'm very much aware I'm a day behind, and I seem to be doing this quite often, so just get used to delayed reviews. Not that I'm getting thousands of people watching this, but still, for the ones that do, I appreciate you. So there were 11 games on tap for that Tuesday schedule. The first game takes place in Boston, where we have the Minnesota Wild, and they're heading in to take on the Bruins. In the first period, Marcus Johansson would pot his second goal of the season, assisted by Gaudreau and Golgoski, 7 minutes and 44 seconds into that frame. David Pastrnak would tie things up 11 minutes and 29 seconds into the period. So it would have been 8 minutes and 31 seconds remaining in the frame, assisted by Beecher. And Pastrnak would then get a goal with just about a second remaining on the clock. So the Wild were that close to having it tied after one, but good old David Pastrnak. 19th of the season from Zaka and Van Riemsdyk, so it was 2-1 in favor of the Bruins heading into the second period. There are no goals to report in the second, but to jump ahead to the third with 6 minutes and 48 seconds remaining. Kaprizov would tie things up at 2, getting his ninth of the season from Middleton and Faber. Hartman will get a go-ahead goal with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go, his ninth of the season, assisted by Rossi. And Brad Marchand will get a power play goal with 1 minute and 6 seconds to go in that period, his 13th of the season from Geeky and Zaka. So the game was heading to overtime, tied at 3. 2 minutes and 54 seconds into that frame, so therefore it would have been like 3 minutes and 6 seconds to go in the period, if I'm not mistaken. Kaprizov would get the game-winning goal, his 10th of the season from Eriksson Ek, and the Wild would have a major victory after almost blowing a lead. So with that victory, the Wild are now back to 500, 13-13-4. And despite the loss, the Bruins are still atop of that Atlantic Division, coming in at 19-5-6. All right, staying in the Atlantic Division, we have the host team in the Buffalo Sabres, and they're taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. So you should see the teams on the screen. All right, let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this one. It was a high scoring affair to say the least. Rasmus Dahlin would kick things off for the Sabres just 30 seconds into that opening frame, getting his 8th goal of the season from Cousins and Middlestad. Gaudreau would tie things up 10 minutes and 35 seconds into that period, so 9 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. His 6th goal this season from Fantilli. Speaking of Fantilli, he would get a late go-ahead goal with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go. His 9th of the season from Gaudreau and Provorov. Marchenko would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 11th goal of the season, a power play goal with just 12 seconds remaining, assisted by Gaudreau and Werenski. So it was 3-1 in favor of the Blue Jackets heading into the second period. Marchenko would then notch his second goal of the game, his 12th of the season from Chinnikov and P to make the lead 4-1, 7 minutes and 37 seconds into that frame. Marchenko would then get a hat trick, his third goal of the game, 13th of the season from Chinnikov and Pirogov, an even strength goal, and that happened just 18 seconds after he scored his second goal. Gudbranson would increase the lead to 6-1, 8 minutes and 52 seconds into that frame, getting his third goal of the season from Texier and Kuraly. Speaking of Kuraly, he would then get on the score sheet, getting his 6th goal of the season from Texier and Gauntz, 12 minutes and 27 seconds in that period, so 7 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in the period. Okposo would get a late goal, 1 minute and 6 seconds, making it 7-2, his 6th of the season from Middlestad and Olofsson, but it was too little too late at that point. Heading into the third, I apologize, I thought that was the end. Tage Thompson would cut the lead to 7-3, getting his 8th goal of the season from Dahlin and Tuck, a power play goal, 2 minutes and 57 seconds into that frame. And then Dylan Cousins would cut the lead to 7-4, getting his 6th goal of the season from Benson and Peterka, making it 7-4. So things got a little interesting. But less than a minute after that, Sillinger would pot his 2nd goal of the season from Werenski and Johnson, to make the lead 8-4. And Johnson, it's a lot of players on the Columbus Blue Jackets, got a lot of goals and assists. He would then pot his 4th goal of the season 11 minutes into that period, assisted by Sillinger and Remstrom. So 9-4 was the final score. Holy cow, where was this Blue Jackets team all season? With victory, the Blue Jackets are now at 11-17-5. And with the loss, the Sabres are now 4 games below 500 13, 17, and 3. The next matchup takes place in Raleigh, where we have the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Should see the teams on the screen as I speak. All right, let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this one. This one would be a little high scoring affair, but not as bad as the game I just previously recapped. So Svechnikov would get the first goal of the game, 10 minutes and 27 seconds into that period, his second of the season from Jay and Aho, a power play goal. William Carrier would then tie things up less than 3 minutes after that, getting his fourth goal of the season from McNabb and Howden. So it was all tied up at 1 after 1. Jordan Staal would give the Hurricanes a 2-1 lead, getting his fifth goal this season from Fast and Martinook, 4 minutes and 36 seconds into that period. Kotkaniemi would pot his ninth goal of the year, 10 minutes and 11 seconds into that frame, assisted by Chatfield and Bunting. And Bunting would then add a power play goal 2.5 minutes after that, his seventh of the season from Aho and Burns. So it was 4-1 in favor of the Hurricanes after 2. Jarvis scored just 10 seconds into that third period, hit a power play goal, his 11th goal of the season from Bunting and Aho, making it 5-1. Brady Shea would increase the lead to 6-1, 4 minutes and 44 seconds into that frame, making it 6-1 at that point in favor of the Hurricanes. Jack Eichel would get a late goal with a minute 24 seconds remaining to make it 6-2 at that point in favor of the Hurricanes. His 15th of the season from Haig and Mark Stone. And then William Carrier would cut the lead to 6-3 with 31 seconds to go in the game. His second of the game, fifth of the season from Howden and Amadio, I apologize. Wow. So 6-3 would be the final score in this one. With the victory, the Hurricanes are 17-12-3. And even though the Vegas Golden Knights lost, they're still atop of that Pacific Division, 21-7-5. All right, the next matchup takes place in New Jersey, where we have the Devils, and they are playing host to the Philadelphia Flyers. So you should see the teams on the screen right now. All right, we'll take a look at the goal scoring summary from this matchup. McLeod would kick things off, but it would take about 5 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in that period to kick things off for the Devils, getting a seventh goal of the season from Batsien and Lazar. In the second, Ryan Poehling would get the tying goal with a minute and 10 seconds into that period, his third of the season from Farabee. Jesper Bratt would increase the lead with a power play goal a minute and a half after Poehling scored, getting his 13th of the season from his share and Jack Hughes. Poehling would then knot his second goal of the game, 8 minutes and 19 seconds into the period, his fourth of the season from Konechny and Sanheim. So it was all tied up at 2 after 2. There were no goals to report in the third. We have to jump ahead to the overtime frame with a minute and 35 seconds to go. Owen Tippett would get the game-winning goal, his 11th of the season in favor of the Flyers. So with that, the Flyers are still within that top 3 of that division, 18-10-3. And with the loss, the Devils are still kind of streaking a little bit. They're not totally lost, but 16-12-2. They are in the bottom 4 of that division. So they better win some games, especially after all the hype from last season. All right, now we're off to Florida, where we have the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they are playing host to the St. Louis Blues. All right, let's take a look at the goal scoring summary here. In the first, Eyssimont will kick things off 2 minutes and 23 seconds into that opening frame, getting his fifth goal of the season from Janot and Fleury. Mott would then increase the lead to 2-0 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in that frame, his second goal of the season from Stamkos and Sheary. And then Kucherov would get a goal with 14 seconds to go, his 21st of the season from Point and Paul. So it was 3-0 in favor of the Lightning after 1. A minute and 36 seconds into that second period, Kucherov will get his second goal of the game, his 22nd of the season from Pervix and Paul. And Fleury would then get his first goal of the season for the Tampa Bay Lightning, making it 5-0 with 7 minutes and 46 seconds. 7 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in that period. 5-0 at that point. And in the third, Nick Paul would increase the lead to 6-0, 7 minutes and 53 seconds into that period, getting his 10th of the season from Stamkos and Hedman. Justin Falk would finally get the Blues on the board with 4 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the period. His first of the season from Neighbors and Hayes, and that came on a power play goal. But at that point, it was too little too late. 6-1 would be the final score. With that, the Lightning are 15, 13, and 5, so they're still kind of hovering around that wild card spot. And for the Blues, they're back to 500, 15, 15, and 1. All right, the next matchup takes place in Toronto, where we have the Leafs, and they're taking on an original six team, in the New York Rangers. So let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from that game. There are no goals to report in the first. We have to jump ahead to the second, where Zibanejad would kick things off 6 minutes and 11 seconds into that frame, getting his 10th goal of the season from Wheeler and Kreider. Austin Matthews would tie things up a minute and 20 seconds after that, getting his 24th of the season from Riley and Bertuzzi. Lafreniere would get a power play goal 9 minutes and 50 seconds into that period, his 9th of the season from Brodzinski and Gustafsson. So it was 2-1 in favor of the Rangers heading into the third. Matthews would get his second goal of the game, his 25th of the season, tying things up a minute and 16 seconds into that frame, assisted by McCabe and Nylander. Schneider would get a go-ahead goal for the Rangers 8 minutes and 8 seconds into that period, his second of the season from Gustafsson and Wheeler. Panarin will get a late power play goal with just under 5 minutes to go in that game, 4 minutes and 52 seconds to be exact, getting his 17th of the season from Gustafsson and Trocheck. And then Zibanejad would add a goal a minute and 40 seconds after that, getting his second of the game, 11th of the season from Lindgren and Kreider. So 5-2 would be the final score in favor of the Rangers. With that, they are 22, 7, and 1, still top of their division. And despite the loss, the Leafs are still second in their division, 16, 7, and 6. All right, now we are off to, I believe, where am I here? I believe we're off to Long Island. I just have to double check. Nope, that's not it. Come on. We're off to Long Island, where we have the Islanders, kind of ironic, taking on the Edmonton Oilers. All right, let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this game. Draisaitl will kick things off in the first, a minute 23 seconds into that frame, his 13th of the season from Foegele and Ekholm. In the second, Anders Lee would tie things up with a power play goal, 2 minutes and 39 seconds into that frame, his 8th of the season from Palmieri and Barzal. Bo Horvat, would get a go-ahead goal at that point for the New York Islanders with 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the period. Assisted by Nelson and Dobson, a power play goal, his 13th of the season. I'm pretty sure I already said that. And then Holmstrom would get a shorthanded goal less than 3 minutes after that, increasing the lead to 3-1, assisted by Pajot. There were no goals to report in the third, so 3-1 is the final score. With that, the Islanders improved to 15, 7, and 9. And with the loss, the Oilers have now dropped to 2 games below 500, 13, 15, and 1. All right, the next game takes place in Nashville, where we have the Predators, and they are playing host to the Vancouver Canucks. So one team's kind of floating around the wildcard spot, while the other one is in second place in their division. I'll let you guys figure out who's what. All right, take a look at the goal scoring summary from this game. Elias Pettersson would make it 1-0 with 3 minutes and 22 seconds in that first period, getting his 13th goal of the season from Mikheyev and Suter. Emon would get a late goal less than 30 seconds after that, his first of the season in favor of the Canucks. No assists on his score. So it was 2-0 in favor of the Canucks heading into the second. Joe Lozen would get his third goal of the year with 5 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in that period, assisted by Evangelista and Novak. Hoglander would score 15 seconds after that, increasing the lead to 3-1, getting his 10th of the season from Quinn Hughes and Hronik. And then Pius Sutter would add to the lead 4-1 with 4 minutes and 36 seconds remaining in that frame, his 5th of the season from Mikheyev and Pettersson. In the third, Blue Trevor Bluger, I apologize, would increase the lead to 5-1, a minute and 16 seconds into that frame, his fourth of the season from Quinn Hughes. And then Glass would get a very late goal with just 12 seconds remaining in that period, or in the game, I should say, assisted by Smith. So 5-2 would be the final score. With that, the Canucks have improved to 22-9-2. And with the loss, the Predators are still 4 games above 500. Like I said, they're around that wild card spot, 18-14-0. All right, the next matchup takes place in Chicago, where we have the Blackhawks, and I meant to put a cover on that. Oops. They're taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Whoops. All right, let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this game. In the first, Donato kicked things off at 7 minutes and 29 seconds into that opening frame, getting his 5th of the season from Zaitsev and Bedard. Yashushkin would get a power play goal to tie things up 9 minutes and 22 seconds into that period, his 14th of the season from Drouin and McKinnon. He would then pot his second goal of the game on a power play just over 2 minutes after that. His 15th of the season from Rantanen and Malsinski. Reichel would get a goal with a minute and 30 seconds after that to tie it at 2, his 3rd of the season from Connor Bedard and Donato. Jump ahead to the third, just 1 goal to report. Tyler Johnson would score a power play goal 8 minutes and 19 seconds into that frame, getting his 7th goal of the season from Foligno and Zaitsev. So 3-2 would be the final score in favor of the Blackhawks. With the win, Blackhawks are still 10 games below 500, 10-20-1. And with the loss, the Avs are 19-11-2. They're still in the top 3 of their division, and that division's pretty close when it comes to the points. So even though they lost, again, for the Avs, they're still in that top 3 in that position. All right, 2 more games to report from Tuesday night. The first game takes place in Arizona, where we have the the Coyotes, and they're taking on the Ottawa Senators. Now, if the Ottawa Senators, if you haven't heard by now that they did fire DJ Smith, there was rumors and speculation he was going to get fired prior to this, but the axe finally fell on DJ Smith, and he is no longer a head coach of the Ottawa Senators. Jacques Martin, who used to coach his team, I believe, from 96 to 04 before he was relieved of his duties. This is his first head coaching job. He's been an assistant elsewhere. His last head coaching job was with the Montreal Canadiens. I believe that ended in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a long time since he's been the bench boss, but he's back in Ottawa. Speaking of the Sens, they would kick things off in the first, 4 minutes and 10 seconds into that frame from Cruikshank. He would get his first goal of the season for the Ottawa Senators, assisted by Zub and Sanderson. Norris would make it 2-0 with a power play goal with 6 minutes and 54 seconds remaining in that period. His 10th of the season from Sanderson and Stützle. And Kubalik would then increase the lead a minute and 13 seconds after that, getting his 7th goal this season from Brandstrom. So 3-0 in favor of the Sens after once. They were flying high after one period. Just the 1 goal to report in the second. McBain would finally get the Coyotes on the board, making it 3-1 with 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go in that period. His 5th of the season from Cooley and Carcone. In the third, Moser would, one of the two, would score at 9 minutes and 14 seconds into that frame, assisted by Michelli and Dumba. Keller would then tie things up 30 seconds after that, getting his 11th goal of the season from Stetcher and Kerfoot. And then with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the game, Kesserling would get a late goal for the Coyotes, making the comeback complete, his 2nd of the season from Sanford and McBain. So 4-3 would be the final score. With that, the Coyotes are 16-13-2. Just like the Predators, they're both around that wild card position spot. And as for the Senators, 11-16-0. They still have a lot of games on hand for a lot of teams, but they're already 5 games below 500 around Christmas time. And this is not the time to be that many games below, especially considering they're last in that Atlantic division. All right, now we're off to San Jose, where we have the Sharks, and they're playing host to the Los Angeles Kings. speaking of being last in your division, the San Jose Sharks. Here we go. All right, let's take a look at the goal scoring summary from this matchup. Anze Kopitar would kick things off in the first with a late goal, 2 minutes and 12 seconds to be exact remaining in the period, from Kalikav and Fiala. It was a power play goal. In the second, Trevor Moore would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 15th goal of the season from Fiala and Danault, 4 minutes and 7 seconds into that period. And a minute and 10 seconds after that, Lafayette would increase the lead to 3-0, getting his 4th goal of the season from Spence and Kopitar. In the third period, Trevor Lewis would get a short-handed goal with a minute and 48 seconds remaining in the period, making it 4-0 in favor of the LA Kings. But on that same power play, Joey McDonald would finally get the Sharks on the board with a minute and 19 seconds remaining in the game, assisted by LeBanc and Zadina. So I'm sure that just brought the house down with their first goal of the game with less than a minute and a half to go in the game. All right. With the victory, the Los Angeles Kings have now improved to 18-6-4. They're still top 3 of that division. And as I said at the start of this particular game review, the Sharks are still in last place of their respective division, 9-20-3. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful if I could make it to 200. I'm 10 away. So if you've already subscribed, tell your friends. But those that have subscribed, thank you very much. Those who do watch, thank you again. And until next time, take care.